What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow, so today we are back going to be talking about Survivor Season 41, Episode 5. Such a sad day. Last week we said we wanted to see all three people on green make it to the merge, but we cannot have nice things. So, my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and I just gotta say, this was such a plot twist because everyone was expecting Yase to be the one that ended up, really sucking, but it turns out that it was Green that was the suck-worthy tribe. So,
Yeah, Yellow didn't. We thought they were going to mad sing or intentional mad sing themselves, but alas, Green got their whole tribe decimated.
yeah, and I think it's pretty safe to say that was an unintentional matching by Green. So,
Yeah, we start off this episode. Genie finds the idol clue, which we saw in the preview for last week. So I guess it doesn't really matter now, but if we have more Beware advantages for future seasons, it will work. Similar to like a regular idol, if one gets played or someone leaves with it in their pocket, this Beware idol will also get re-hidden. So Genie finds it, and I guess a mistake. She goes directly and tells Ricard and Shan about it, which then Ricard and Shan decide, let's not open it because Blue probably doesn't have their clue. None of us three want to lose our vote.
this whole thing frustrated me because I'm not entirely sure why Genie went to Shan and Ricard about it because it's like, dude, you know that they're going to vote you out if you end up losing again. And I guess it just it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth that Shan and Ricard were like, no, we're not going to open it. And then they opened it and now they have the idol. And it's just like,
Yeah, I think like mistake for Genie to directly go and tell Shannon Ricard about it, but also like we've said before, it's a public immunity idol. Shannon Ricard also both know the phrases, or at least Shan knows. She probably has told Ricard what the phrases were because Brad told Shan, and Genie knew the phrases already from Brad too. So everyone knows these phrases. If Genie did keep it for herself, she opened it and then went to the immunity challenge and then said that phrase, maybe you would lose trust with Shannon Ricard because they're like, yo, you didn't tell us about this. Why are you saying that Brad phrase that he said? Why did you keep this a secret from us? So you might lose trust there. But if Genie had this idol, she could have played it at this tribal and been safe. One more tribal to make it to this merge, the fake merge, whatever is going to happen next week, which ultimately I think would be worth it, even if you are losing maybe trust in them a little bit. But seems like from like exit interviews and stuff that Genie really thought that her and Shan were two together and not Shan and Ricard as a two. Like they were closer than the other two some.
yeah, I guess that's good game by Shan because if you can socially make everyone think that you're their number one, then stuff like this does make sense. But also if you're Shan's number one, just tell Shan. Don't tell Shan and Ricard. And obviously the end result would still be the same. But I don't know. I understand why Shan and Ricard manipulated Genie into not opening it, but it just it left a bad taste in my mouth, knowing that she could have had an idol and could have saved herself this week and didn't because
I feel bad. Yeah, Genie in the Rob has a podcast exit interview was saying how like literally after they said, oh, we're going to put it back, we're going to not open this, Genie went to go catch fish, which is what we saw, and she wanted to catch fish for the whole tribe, let me feed everyone, and then that's when Shannon Ricard went behind her back to go make that fake idol and leave it there. And I thought it was interesting. Shan doesn't want anyone else to have any advantages, so she doesn't want Genie to open up the Beware idol to have a potential fake idol. And yeah, I don't know. Shan literally has gotten two advantages now without even having to find them. The extra vote from JD, and now Genie has found this idol, which Shan has swooped up.
yeah, obviously Shan had to do some social maneuvering to get the advantage from JD and also get this idol, but it just like it feels kind of scummy, and I don't know. Like I still like Shan as a player, but I'm not a super big fan of how she gets her advantages.
At least I would have been so sad if they hid that fake idol there and the ruse was, "Hey Genie, we're just going to say this phrase to see if blue has it, then haha, jokes on the other two teams because we didn't actually open the clue. The idol wouldn't have been activated, so the other two teams would have been bamboozled." So, sort of framing it like haha, jokes on everyone else, not haha, jokes on you, Genie. I thought it would have been so sad if after the immunity challenge, they come back and they're like, Genie, maybe the idol was activated. You can have this idol now. And they give her the fake one. And then she goes up to play it at this tribal. I was like, dang, that would have just been so heartbreaking and sad for Genie.
That would have been unnecessarily mean. So I'm glad it didn't go that way.
Yeah, so here they also, Shan gives Ricard the extra vote now, which is a little bit questionable because Shan, could she have waited until after the immunity challenge to see, hey, do we win this challenge or do we lose this challenge? If we win, no need for her to give the extra vote away. Or, like, because she picked up the where advantage, technically she still has her vote until they go to the challenge and not all three phrases are said, then she would lose her vote. So if she lost her vote, could she not give her extra vote away after she had already lost her vote? So after the challenge, and that's why she gave it beforehand. It just seems sort of odd that you would give it prematurely unless there's a rule like you can't give it after the challenge, because then we get into the predicament later.
I feel like that's like a very specific rule to be made though, so I feel like production wouldn't like make that a rule. So maybe it's just her jumping the gun a little.
Yeah, similar like we were saying to people throwing names out before they've even lost the challenge, giving your advantages away before you even maybe have to go to tribal council seems a little bit premature, I think.
Yeah.
Alas, though, Genie gives the idol clue up. Shan and Ricard have that plan to take the idol out from under her. Genie in the rap interview says that her biggest regret in the game here was playing with fear at the end because she had so much fear of losing her vote because she saw what it did to Brad. She didn't want to lose her vote in a 3-person tribe by opening the idol. But I was like, dang, imagine if Ricard went home here because Genie played the idol, or if Genie even had the idol, maybe Shan would have flipped and worked with Genie and then Ricard would have gotten voted out. It would have been so interesting to see the dynamics when if the person that is the quote obvious boot here would have been safe to force other people to maneuver around the safe person.
Yeah. I guess also it's like it's hard when there's three because if you play your shot in the dark and you're not sure whether or not you're going home, it's like it could end up in a 1-1 tie if like Shan did vote for Ricard and Genie played her shot in the dark and lost her vote, then it would end up being a 1-1 tie and it's just useless. So,
Fire challenge. But we go to the blue tribe. We see Deshawn wanting to throw the challenge again. And then Nasir basically says no, which was interesting because we see Deshawn and Danny, they're seeing all the men get voted out of the other two tribes. So they're like, hey, maybe we want to throw this because we want to vote a woman out. We want to vote Erica out this time.
I just like I didn't understand how their logic was getting them there because I feel like to me if I saw all the men are getting voted out of the other tribes, my first thought would not be let's throw a challenge so we could vote a woman out. My first thought would be let's not lose so that I don't get voted out as a strong man. So like I don't know. I guess they're very confident in their social capital in their game and their ability to make the vote whoever they want to make it. But I don't know. It's not a good look for Blue that basically all we've seen of them is them trying to throw challenges.
And vote Nasir out. But oh, nope. It was interesting because Nasir here, he's saying, oh, I think I have some really good allies now because these guys, they're coming to me. Danny and Deshawn, they want to work with me. by maybe bringing me in. Maybe we're going to throw the challenge, maybe not. But it sort of feels bad too because it does only seem like Danny and Deshawn. We haven't really seen too much of this tribe besides Sydney wanting to vote out Nasir. Do Danny and Deshawn actually want to work with Nasir, or are they just bringing him into this throwing the challenge plan because he's a man on the tribe?
Yeah, and also because the last time they tried to throw a challenge, he just single-handedly beast moded it.
Maybe, yeah, maybe they only brought him in this time so he wouldn't win it again by accident. But I thought it was interesting because if Danny and Deshawn really wanted to throw the challenge, why bring it up to someone else who maybe would shoot it down? Because now that Nasir said no, now Danny and Deshawn can't throw the challenge because then Nasir would be like, WTF, what are you people doing? Like, we said we wouldn't throw this challenge. What are you doing? And then Nasir might get mad. He might spill the beans to other people. So, if Danny and Deshawn really wanted to throw this challenge, they would have to do it secretly again, sort of like last week. Maybe have Nasir sit out of the challenge if he's going to beast the challenge again, or like something like that, because bringing someone in who has the ability to say no, it just shut down the whole plan because they can't throw it now after someone said no.
The thing is, now if like next time, assuming there wasn't a merge, but like if next time they were to go to an immunity challenge and be like, "Hey Nasir, you sit this one out," I as Nasir would be like, "Oh hell nah, you guys are gonna try to throw it." So I don't know. I feel
It's
like
sketchy.
they showed their hand too early when like first of all throwing a challenge almost never works out, and I don't know, like it felt like there wasn't a lot of acknowledgement of that fact. Like Danny was like, "Oh, I don't want to throw the challenge because I'm a competitor at heart or whatever," but it's like that's really not why you should not throw a challenge. You should not throw a challenge because like I feel like 100% of the time whoever throws the challenge ends up getting voted out. So
It would have been funny though if Danny and Deshawn, they don't bring Nasir in, they try to throw it again. Nasir, they make him sit out of the challenge or something because Nasir was a beast at that slingshot too at this immunity challenge. So he could have single handedly won this again for his team. And then if they did lose, they threw it again. Nasir sat out or something like that. And then Danny or Deshawn got blindsided because they wanted to throw. It would have been sort of funny, I think.
yeah, but because Nasir was like, nah, man, they ended up deciding not to throw the challenge. And I feel like that is going to be interesting going forward. Like, will Danny and Deshawn blame Nasir for this? Like, it's a big question mark over their relationship, especially because I feel like it was never really resolved because they ended up not throwing the challenge, but then we never hear like Danny and Deshawn's opinion on that about like, oh, I wish we could have done that. I mean, in the end, they got their goal anyway because a woman got voted out. So,
It'll be interesting moving forward into like a merge scenario, teams, not like a tribe swap scenario, whatever is going to happen next week. Like Danny, Deshawn, Nasir, did they just bring in Nasir because he was a man on the tribe? Do they actually want to work with Nasir? Or are they just using him like maybe as a shield because we see Nasir is strong, he's really good at challenges, we need to keep him around? Versus, does Nasir think that he's actually working and in tight with these two guys? Because in the confessionals, seems like maybe he hasn't had that many strategy conversations with people on his team. Maybe he hasn't been able to fit in as much yet that he was so excited that people wanted to talk strategy with him. Is he going to think that they're actually a team of three dudes here? Or is Nasir going to use this information, bring it back to Erica come like a merge or something and be like, Erica, they wanted to throw challenges like 2 times. They wanted to throw a challenge just to vote you out. And maybe could Erica do something about that to flip it on Danny or Deshawn to vote one of them out? Like, it'll be interesting because, like we've said previously, we just haven't seen enough of Blue to know what their tribe dynamics truly are.
it was also so weird because on Blue this week, we got the whole like thing about Sydney being a mermaid and like wanting to be in the water or whatever. And I was like, of all the things to spend time on, we're getting a montage of Sydney fishing and talking about how she's a mermaid. Like, What? So
more Sydney content. No Heather or Erica content. They have disappeared again, unless it's a challenge where Heather can't jump over the things and catch the ball.
yeah, I guess so.
But we go to the Yellow Tribe, and this is where we see Tiffany and Liana. Tiffany is sort of wary of Evie and Xander's relationship. So seemingly Yellow could be two duos with Tiffany and Liana as a duo, and then Evie and Xander as a sort of duo. But we also have the trio of Evie, Liana, and Tiffany, where Xander is the odd person out there. I feel like those relationships could definitely come up at the merge. Tiffany, Liana seem like they really don't like Xander. They really want to vote him out. And this is where we see Liana and Tiffany, they go through Xander's bag and they see the idol clue, which I thought was weird because didn't they already know that he had the idol? So I don't know why they were so shocked when they read the clue, because I thought Evie told them about the idol already.
Yeah, she literally told them everything that they were like so shocked about, and I was like, what is going on? Like the extra vote that he has, I understand being shocked about that because I don't think that they knew about that one, but they definitely knew about the idol thing.
Yeah, so they're shocked about all the phrases and stuff, but I really thought Evie told them all of the phrases after Xander told Evie the whole clue
I'm
and Evie
like
read it.
99% sure that she did because Evie explained to Tiffany, like, no, Xander's idol is not active because all the phrases haven't been said yet. And then we saw Liana explaining to Tiffany again how this idol worked. So I feel like Tiffany just doesn't understand the idols this season. So feels
Yeah.
bad.
It was also funny. Then we see after Xander is telling Tiffany that, hey, I have the idol, but he gets caught in a little bit of a lie where he says, oh, I found the idol this morning, but then he's showing the paper clue to Tiffany that has the phrases, and Tiffany, brain blast here, is like, Xander, I heard you say the butterfly phrase a few challenges ago. So, like, what do you mean? So it was just really funny because Tiffany's facial reactions to the camera behind Xander's back were just so office like. Like, she was just breaking the third wall, just staring at us, rolling her eyes at what Xander was telling her.
I feel so bad for Xander because he wasn't smooth about it at all. And then he was like, thanks for being so cool about me lying. And it's like, dude, she's not actually being cool about it. You should know.
It's sort of like JD last time when he had the clue, when he came back like half naked from going to the bathroom with the clue hanging out of his pants. Seems like the young people are just not having their things straight out.
Kids these days.
But Yellow Tribe, it'll be interesting to see how they go into the merge because they definitely seem a little bit fractured. Where, like we were saying, it could be a trio versus Xander, it could be two duos, but Xander bringing in Tiffany over Liana could be telling, where Xander thinks him, Evie, and Liana could, or him, Evie, and Tiffany could be a trio where Liana would be the fourth person there. So that'll be interesting. But Tiffany, Liana, they just dislike Xander.
Yeah. But speaking of Xander and his idol, we got a plot twist at the immunity challenge where all of the idols were activated, which was a plot twist because we did not see Nasir find his idol until he said the phrase, and then we had an epic flashback sequence to Nasir finding the idol.
I thought this was the funniest part of the episode. I was so shook because I did not think that Blue would have found their idol yet. We have not seen any of their tribe going idol hunting, no talk of the idol or anything. So then to have Nasir say that phrase, it was just so funny and so good. And it was just so great how Ricard was setting up the phrase for Shan. And then Ricard set up, oh, yeah, Xander was talking about ladybugs. Then Xander is like, oh, no, I was actually talking about butterflies. And then there's a weird pause. And then Jeff was like, oh, we're going to move on. And then Nasir, yes, just says the phrase.
I do think that, like, I'm not sure whether this was because I knew that all of them were supposed to be saying the phrases or whatever, but I do feel like Ricard and Shan's thing was like a little bit overacted. Where if I was in like in the position where I was like listening to them, I might be like, that's a little wonky, especially because the broccoli trees thing was the same thing that Brad had said. Like, I feel like if the players had been paying closer attention, they might have been able to like get some ding ding alarm bells.
Maybe because Brad messed up his phrase so much that people were like, oh, this team just really likes broccoli over there for some weird reason, that it saved Shan and Ricard from raising any alarm bells. But yeah, I think because people remembered, oh, Xander said that when they're reading the phrases, if they hear this weird broccoli saying come up multiple times and this butterfly thing come up 3 times now, people maybe on Blue Tribe, they might be like, what is everyone talking about? Because everyone on green and yellow know all the phrases.
Yeah, so but so that means that now Nasir, Shan, and Xander all have active idols, which is exciting, but also kind of like annoying because that's a lot of idols to like flood into the game at the same time. And now also people have their votes back, which is good for Xander because he hasn't had his vote for like a month. But
like 5 days in this expedited version of Survivor. I thought the Nasir flashback was so heartwarming. Like, I was so excited for Nasir sharing about how his daughter would hide fake idols in the backyard and then he would have to go and find them. I thought it was just such a cute moment and very Nasir.
yeah, it was really cute.
But speaking of, Yellow Tribe wins the immunity challenge. Blue comes in second. Yellow gets to choose who to send to the island. Yellow sends Shan from the losing Green Tribe and then Liana from their own tribe. From this, I would have loved to hear some of the reasoning behind these decisions. For Liana being sent, probably is because she's the only one on the team that hasn't gone on a trip yet. Xander went on the premier island trip. Tiffany went on the nighttime trip where Brad got the advantage. Evie went on a trip with Deshawn. So it seems like that's why Liana got to go this time. But it would be interesting to know, why did they pick Shan from the losing tribe?
I wonder if part of it was because didn't Liana say that she wanted to work with Shan? So like if Liana was picked first and they were like, and she was like, oh, I want to like meet with Shan, like maybe it was because Liana knew she wanted to work with Shan. So
Yeah, I guess it could be. If after Yellow won, they thought that maybe someone would get the choice to go, and then Liana volunteered, and then because they had to say the Green Tribe's name of person first, and then they said the Yellow, their own tribe's name of person second. So would be interesting. I just want to hear some of that strategy conversation. Was it, like you said, because Liana wanted to meet Shan? Was it because the Yellow Tribe wants to work with Shan? Why do they want to work with Shan? Like, how can we become as good at making friends as Shan when she's never met these people to send her to the island? Or did they think that Shan was on the bottom of the Green Tribe, so they wanted to send Shan so that maybe she could get an advantage or something? Or maybe they don't like Shan and they wanted to send her so that she would have less time to strategize, leaving Genie and Ricard back at camp? Like, there's so many options here of why they picked a certain person.
yeah, so maybe we'll never know, but it is what it is. I thought that Shan and Liana's conversation on this island trip that they went on was so awesome, though. They were talking about being two Black women on Survivor and how cool it would be, how they both really wanted to work with each other. They had some awesome bonding moments. Shan opened up to Liana about her mom and then was like, I feel like we really have a connection. I've spent more time with Genie and Ricard, but I haven't really like connected with them in this way. And it was all really sweet and wholesome.
I agree. This was another scene that was just so heartwarming to watch. It was great to see them bond over all of their connections and sharing about their families and stuff like that. And it was good to learn more about the players as well through these like flashback montages as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see these two, since they're both making it to next week. Neither got voted out this time, like how this relationship develops, because Like, will they stay close or will they not want to work together? Seemingly like they will be working together come the merge next time. I thought it was interesting, though, Shan saying to Liana, hey, if I'm not here tomorrow, Ricard can't be trusted. We're number ones. But if something happens to me, he's the one who voted me out kind of thing. So I do wonder if her saying that to Liana will come up later on, because it does seem a little bit like a oopsies, because if, like we see, Ricard and Shan are going to go into this merge together, is Liana going to be like, yo, why were you throwing Ricard under the bus a little bit when we were on the island trip? Like, are you two still number ones? Can I be your number one? Or if you're willing to throw your number one under the bus as like a, hey, if I'm not here tomorrow, don't trust him, vote him out kind of thing, can I really work with you?
Yeah, it's kind of like, since Shan didn't get screwed over by Ricard, it definitely is an opening for Liana, I feel like. And maybe it ends up being like a bad thing. But also, I feel like for Shan, if she likes Liana and she did get voted out, it's good that Liana knows who not to trust. So,
yeah, it's sort of like the Evie Deshawn island trip. Like, did Evie tell Deshawn too much information? We really don't know. Seemingly, like, hasn't bit Evie in the butt yet because of all the information that they spilled to Deshawn at the island trip. So, will be interesting to see if Shan telling Liana, hey, Ricard can't be trusted if I'm gone, if that comes to like back, or if it comes to bite Shan or Ricard in the butt. Maybe Liana wants to vote out one of them, so she uses this information to drive a wedge or something. I think little things like that will be interesting to keep an eye out for the future.
Yep. And then they had the prisoner's dilemma thing. I gotta say, I'm kind of over the prisoner's dilemma, especially when there's only two of them. Like, when there's three of them, it's harder because it's harder to coordinate and harder to trust everyone involved. But, like, with only two of them, both times it has happened where the one person was like, hey, I'm not going to risk my vote. You can risk your vote. And, like, I don't know. It just, like, if they're going to do the prisoner's dilemma, they should make it more difficult.
Especially because it's one person is from the losing tribe. They're probably always going to protect, right? They're not going to want to lose their vote.
Yeah, like, I could see maybe if the losing tribe was blue and you're on blue, you might not choose to protect your vote just because there's enough people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's one of those things where it just, I don't think that it's working out well, and it's putting a lot more advantages in the game than I think there should be. And speaking of that, the advantage that Liana got was knowledge is power advantage, which is basically like, if you can ask someone if they have an advantage or an idol, and if they do, they have to give it to you. And like, I really don't like that, especially because all of the idols so far have had to be announced, in the sense that, like, you have to say the secret phrase. So it's like, you know exactly who has an idol if you know one person who has the idol and they know all the secret phrases. So it just seems very overpowered.
100% agree. This is too OP. Like, I think this is such an interesting advantage in theory, maybe for another season, but it does not make sense this season, like you were saying. The whole risk of advantages, the whole risk and fun of having an idol or having an extra vote or having an idol nullifier is that there is no 100% guarantee. You need to play the idol at the correct time. You need to not get idol nullified. You need to play your extra vote in a way that the extra vote actually counts, because if you're still in the minority, an extra vote isn't really going to help you. Like, you need to risk it and play these advantages correctly. And there is a way for your advantage not to save you. You could play your idol this week and you didn't have the majority of the votes, and then you get blindsided next week because you played your idol too soon. You might go home with an idol in your pocket. Like, there is some risk to these advantages, but now with this three-way idol that everyone knows, everyone on the yellow team knows, so Liana knows the three phrases, so presumably Liana knows the three people with idols. All of the green tribe knows the three phrases. They all know who has the idols on the teams. Nasir knows who has the three idols. Maybe Deshawn even knows because of what Evie told him at the island trip. So if Deshaun knows, maybe when he heard Nasir say the phrase, maybe he tells Danny and Sydney. So practically everyone on the whole game knows who has these 3 idols. So it just makes it too easy for Liana to steal an idol. Like, right?
I feel like also, if someone came up to me and was like, "You're not allowed to lie to me because I have an advantage that says you have to answer me honestly and give me your idol," I would be like, "Bitch, what kind of lie are you making up?" Like, I don't understand how these people are actually going to how that is actually going to be used in practice. Like, is someone from production gonna come in and be like, "Yes, she actually has this advantage"? So like, ugh. I just feel
And
like this advantage is like the opposite of the like 3 idol thing, where the 3 idol thing was really like more risk than reward, and this is way more reward than risk. So
yeah, Liana knows she can go up to Nasir or Xander and take their idols because Liana's not going to take it from Shan. So it's like it narrows it down. Nasir or Xander are going to maybe have their idol stolen, but also apparently you have to use this advantage at tribal council. So you have to announce it in front of everyone, like me, Liana, Nasir. Do you have an idol? Nasir has to say yes or no and then give it to her. But since everyone knows that you just stole this idol from Nasir or Xander, now everyone knows that Liana has an idol. I feel like you wouldn't want to steal it out in public, but you have to. And then when people get mad at you, the jury phrase of the game is probably going to start soon. Like, if someone, say Nasir was going to get voted out, he was planning on playing the idol. Liana is like, no, Nasir, do you have an idol? She takes Nasir's idol. Nasir gets voted out because of it. Like,
it's a
everyone
recipe
knows.
for bitter jury.
Yeah, like, are people going to be mad? Are people going to feel bad for Nasir or whoever gets voted out? Are people going to be mad at Liana? Are people now going to want to flush Liana's new idol because they all know that she has an idol? Like, jury management, people could be really, really hurt by this. Like, if you didn't want the idol in the game, I feel like I'd rather just blindside Nasir or Xander and get them voted out rather than the whole dang game, the whole team, everyone knowing that you have an idol now because you just stole it and then crushed that person's dreams.
Yeah, it's just not good.
It'll be interesting to see if it's played. I feel like if I were Liana, I don't know. It's so risky. Like, yes, it is an easy idol, but the fact that you have to do it at a tribal council where everyone is there, like, I feel like you're just going to hurt so many feelings.
I think it's also difficult because they seem to be making it harder to play idols, and it's like idols are already hard to play correctly. Like, I feel like people have this idea that idols are played correctly 100% of the time, but they're really not. I feel like on the average season, we see more idols played incorrectly or like not played when they should have been than we do see correct idol plays. And like correct idol plays are awesome because they can definitely change the course of the season, but like someone not playing an idol has just as much of an effect on the game. And I don't know. It's not fun, I feel like, to give someone this much power. Just like the introduction of an idol nullifier wasn't fun. So, and plus,
Feels bad.
it's one of those things where like no one else knows that this advantage exists, so they can't even strategize around it. Because like it would be really easy to strategize around it if you knew this advantage existed. Because you could just be like, "Hey, I told Liana that I have an advantage. I'm going to give it to you. So she's going to use her knowledge as power advantage on me when I don't have this advantage." Like it's easy to strategize around, but that would require you knowing that it existed. So I think it would be interesting if they told people that it existed, because then it would encourage more stuff like what Shan and Ricard did, where like you're passing the idol or the advantage around between your alliance mates so that they can't be stolen by the knowledge is power thing. So I don't know. It could create a really new, interesting layer to gameplay, but I feel like with the way it is being done, that's not what's going to happen.
That's really interesting. I think for future seasons, like now that we've seen it, 42 has already filmed, so they wouldn't know if this advantage is in play. But future seasons, now it's risky if you're telling your supposed alliance members, hey, I have this advantage or idol, you don't know, they could stab you in the back, or they could have another alliance member friend who has this advantage, the knowledge is power advantage, and then they use it against you later on. Or maybe this advantage comes into play earlier, prior to the merge, you're on a 6-person tribe. I feel like then you can steal someone's idol because you don't have that person going to the jury. Like, they're going to be sent home. They can't be mad at you on their flight home, kind of thing. Like, it makes it easier to steal it when there are less like repercussions for stealing the idol. So I feel like for future seasons, if this advantage continues, it'll be interesting to see. But you just can't have this advantage on a season where every single person on the season knows who has the idols at this point. Like, it's too easy to pick out who has what. And like you were saying, they don't know that this power exists, so they can't even try to prevent their thing from being stolen unless they just like hot potato all of their advantages unnecessarily.
Yeah, and I guess it's like one of those things where like I'm not a fan of stuff in Survivor you can't strategize around. So, like, the interesting part of Survivor isn't the advantages, it's how players consider the advantages and use them.
And even with adding all of these advantages, so Liana has the knowledge is power, Shan, Xander, and Nasir have an idol. Xander also has an extra vote. Shan / Ricard have an extra vote, which we'll talk about. One of them has it. We'll see if it's ever returned, kind of thing. But it's like, what is this? 6, 7 advantages coming into a 12-person supposed merge. That is so many freaking things for so little people left. And I don't know, it's going to be like a hot mess of so many different advantages being played. Everyone still also has their shot in the dark advantage. Like, it is honestly really hard to keep track of. And it sort of is like, this cast is so amazing. So it's like, why do you have to add all of these different avenues into the game when I think this cast could do so well without having all of these weird advantages being brought into it? Like, the strategy this episode, where it was supposedly a straightforward vote, was still super fun to watch.
Yeah, so I guess it's one of those things where like a lot of people have been complaining about too many advantages on Survivor, and it's like if you have to have advantages to make the season interesting, then you cast the wrong people. So,
Speaking of advantages, we see the extra vote being passed around again. Earlier, we were talking about why did Shan give Ricard the extra vote prior to the immunity challenge. And last week, we said Shan, when she was asking JD to let her hold his extra vote, it would make people a little bit sketched out and they might flip on Shan because it's like, Shan, why do you keep, like, why do you think I'm flipping on you? Why can we not work together, kind of thing? That's what we were talking about last week. And I felt like Shan doing it to Ricard here was a little bit a lot. Also, I was like, dang, Ricard might flip, or he's definitely going to note this down for future. Like, there's so much paranoia here, whether it's acting on Shan's part or not. I feel like Ricard is going to note this mentally and it might come up later.
yeah, I wasn't sure how much of this was just to make like a red herring for us, the viewer, but it felt like it could just be them acting in case Genie, oof, don't know why I said Jenny, in case Genie was like overhearing them. But I don't know. I do think it is like kind of suspicious, especially because of the parallels with JD's situation. So,
And I agree with Ricard. Like, he was right, I think, to say no. Like, why would I give it back to you? Because then, Shan, you would have the idol and the extra vote. I need to hold on to the extra vote as an insurance. Like, if I give it back to you, you could easily vote me out because you have the two things in your pocket. So I was sort of glad that Ricard held his ground, even though it's, you know, it's Shan's advantage. Like, he could have been nice and given it back to her. I was like, yeah, Ricard, hold your ground, even if it is her thing. Like, just hold it till after tribal, because you could presumably say, like, you gave it to me to hold on to through tribal. Like, I can't give it back to you now. Sorry. But if you were more of like wanting to appease people, maybe Ricard would have just given it back.
yeah, and I do think slash hope that like one of the first things they're going to show us in next episode is Ricard giving it back and just being like, I'm sorry, I needed the extra insurance. That way they can kind of patch things up between them. So yeah.
I feel like this Shan and Ricard relationship, they got some paranoia cracks here. Like, one is going to vote the other out down the line. This is not like a Dom and Wendell situation. These two, they trust each other, but also they can't trust each other. They know they can't trust each other, which will be interesting. Like, even Ricard at Tribal Council was saying when he comes up with the plans and Shan is the closer, which was interesting because in the edit, I feel like we haven't really seen Ricard as the one coming up with the plans. Shan has been the main character in the edit. Shan has been the one we've been seeing coming up with the plans, closing the plans. But it is interesting to hear when Ricard was telling Genie his fake pitches that Shan is going to get all the credit in the end. We need to vote Shan out. That there's probably some truth behind what he was saying, even if it was a fake pitch. So Ricard already sees that he needs to vote her out.
Yeah, it worked as a fake pitch because it was so believable.
Yeah, which is interesting because even in the edit, it's like Shan is the main character, Ricard is like the side character almost. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see these two go head to head in the future because it does seem like they cannot make it to the final 2 or 3 together. Like someone's gonna flip.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they're both aware of that because it like creates a nice tension in their relationship.
Yeah, so we go to Tribal Council. Like we said last week, this is the perfect spot for Shan to be in. Shan has basically the choice of who she wants to go with to the next part of the game, whether she wants to go with Genie or Ricard. Genie and Ricard, like we said last week, probably never going to work together because they have a rift in the game thus far. Real life, they're friends. In the game, probably not going to work together.
Yeah. And I guess like to me, I never really saw a situation where Shan would go with Genie instead of Ricard, but maybe other people did. The people that I was watching with, we were all kind of like, oh, Genie's going home. And like props to the editors for making it like kind of interesting, but I feel like I was never unsure about which direction Shan was going to go in.
I think kudos to Shan for continuing to get Genie to think that those two are close. As their number 2, Ricard is the third person, the odd person out there. Like, no, we are the top 2 people here, so that Genie wouldn't play the shot in the dark. So that's another win for Shan. Like, they were able to blindside Genie, even though Genie thought that she was Shan's number 2, so that Shan wouldn't maybe, or so that Genie wouldn't maybe become safe if she did get the shot in the dark thrown correctly. And I think it'll be fascinating. The two moving forward together, Ricard and Shan. I wonder if they will have a target going into this merge. Will other people think that they intentionally sing themselves? Whether true or not, I feel like with so many fans of the show in the game right now, people will probably be wary of that. Even Ricard was saying at Tribal Council, like, they've been to so many tribals, they're at a different level than like the Blue Tribe who hasn't been to tribal yet. They have gone through so much together. They've learned so much of the game because they had to vote their entire tribe out. But I feel like for me personally, I would be nervous of a twosome who lasted. These are the final 2 out of their tribe after voting out their entire team. Like, you can't let them get to the end. Like, you do not. Twosomes always go super far, like we've seen. So I'd be so wary of them.
Yeah, it's like if nothing else, they're a really strong duo, and those are always dangerous. So
you gotta vote them out because they could easily slide through the cracks and get super far. And you'll have another Denise. I've been to every single tribal council kind of thing. Although Shan and Ricard can't say that. They haven't been to every single tribal, but basically all of them. So, like, you don't want that in the final 3. That's so scary.
yeah.
But going into next week, we have a fake merge, maybe a real merge. I just really hope it's not like Australian Survivor, where they might split into 2 teams of 6 and they're going to run a challenge and one team of 6 is safe. but everyone can vote, but the only people eligible to be voted out are the 6 in the losing team. I really don't like that. Or another way that this vote could work out in Australian Survivor, this most recent season as well, it was a merged tribe, and only one person on this tribe could vote. That was one scenario out of all the people there. Or there's another scenario where they did a challenge. The top people in the challenge are immune, similar if they did 2 tribes of 6 and 1 team of 6 is immune, where in Australian Survivor, the 4 last people in this challenge were the only 4 up for elimination, but everyone got a vote. I don't know. I really don't like that. I just want everyone to have a vote and everyone be up for elimination. It'd be sort of annoying, I think, to watch if next week they do split into 2 teams of 6, but it's a merged tribe, but only 6 people are up for elimination. Like, there's just so few people to choose from when usually the merge, this tribe of 12 finally coming together, it's hectic on its own because the name changes so much. You don't need to limit it only to 6 people.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't need gimmicks to make the game interesting. It's already interesting as it is.
I really hope Jeff was bluffing us. Like, please just let it be a regular, just come together, merge, and then have 12 people vote. Like, you don't need all of these fancy things.
Exactly. So, do we have anything else that we want to talk about? I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't know.
I'm excited if it's the merge, if it's a fake merge, as long as it's not an Australian Survivor advantage. I will be happy.
As long as they like chill with the advantages, I will be happy. So, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode. What did you think of Genie going home? Do you wish that Shan and Ricard flipped on each other? What do you think of Shan and Liana's alliance? Do you think that Liana's advantage is dumb like we do? Let us know all your thoughts and more in the comments down below.